Normally, when you visit the iconic Jersey Shore in August, it's to enjoy summer. But we start the college soccer season at home for Monmouth as they welcome in Pitt to West Long Branch. Good afternoon, everyone. We welcome you back to Monmouth University and another season of college soccer. With former Monmouth player and coach Shannon Poser, I'm Eddie Acapenti, and we thank you for tuning in. Shannon, it's mid-August, but we are back and rolling with the ACC's Panthers visiting the Hawks.
It seems to get earlier and earlier every year, right? Back to see, and Monmouth playing an ACC team coming in here, which is special for these kids.
Yeah, it really is. It's been a handful of times that they've hosted ACC teams here at Hess Field. Monmouth coming off another great season in the CAA, but we first take a look at our impact players and the visiting Panthers that come into play today. It's a new regime. We'll talk about that during the broadcast, but first, Shannon, we look at redshirt senior Magali Gagne.
Yeah, she's a player that transferred in from Kansas, so you know that pedigree is there. Best thing you could say about her is that she's unpredictable, and when you have a midfielder that's unpredictable, she's going to open up the defense, and that's going to be her main role.
You mentioned it, had a really successful career at Kansas before a great first season at Pitt a year ago, while for Monmouth, we look at the reigning and preseason CAA Player of the Year, Summer Rymette.
Yeah, all she does is score goals, right? She has 14 goals last year, a couple of assists, total of 33 points. She's big, she's strong. Most importantly, she has the nose for the goal, and she puts it in there a lot.
Will be the focal point of this Monmouth attack today and all season after the tremendous season a year ago for head coach Kylie Flynn. We get started. This is a premium matchup early on in the season, and we're so excited for the opening kickoff on the other end of this timeout. It's the ACC's Pittsburgh Panthers. It's the CAA's Monmouth Hawks, and another season on tap right after this.
Whoever said that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line never said anything about the quality of the ride. With Coach USA, you can charter a luxury motor coach for all of your special occasions. From your wedding day to corporate events, sightseeing, trips to the casino, sporting events, and concerts. Enjoy free amenities on board, things like Wi-Fi, restrooms, and movies. So to book your charter anywhere in the US or Canada, just contact our sales office today.
And we welcome you back to West Long Branch. Producer Andrew Kurtz, our entire crew here getting ready for Pitt and Monmouth. Starting 11 for first-year head coach Ben Waldrom's Pitt Panthers. We mentioned their regime was new. A lot of continuity, though, with previous head coach Randy Waldrom transitioning into that technical director position. And Ben Waldrom, first-year head coach, technically, even though he's been with the program for 7 years. Shannon, we highlighted Magali Gagne, Olivia Lee, a tremendous player for this Panthers team. 2 years ago, they were the Elite Eight, and they come out of the best league in the nation in the ACC.
Yeah, and listen, I expect them back up there again this year. I mean, they're so good, and when you watch them play, they're going to be fast and they're going to be strong. And typical Randy Waldrom, who's the technical director, had his Notre Dame teams in the national championships all the time when he coached there.
Yeah, and we'll highlight the success that, and really it's the Waldrom family brings to the table with Pitt. You take a look at this Monmouth starting lineup. Shannon and I were just talking about it, getting ready for the game today. A lot of talent on the field, but they have to replace a lot of talent. But you started to see some of that already. Emily D'Almeida scored what was the go-ahead goal against Seton Hall before Monmouth fell in the second half there. We mentioned Rymette, but Shannon, a lot of players maybe needing to step up this year could be an early theme for this Monmouth team.
Yeah, sure. In total, 7 players that contributed a lot to their team last year have left. You have a whole new bunch of players coming in, and just a little stats on this. Monmouth in the past 3 years, and you know, I'm a junk sheet junkie, data sheet junkie. They had 0.85 goals against, 0.79 goals against, and 0.67 goals against over the last 3 years, with the bulk of their defense leading.
not only in goal when they lost Cassie Koster to just her eligibility running out, and that's why you see Tallulah Miller, the transfer from Kentucky, get the starting goal. That key, Lauren Bruno, who was awarded really everything in any league she played in as well, keying that back line. But other great players too. You know, you mentioned it, Ava Allen. I mean, there was a ton of talent that back line is now having to replace.
Yeah, you know, the player that I liked the most was Gabby Allen.
Yep.
Never got any fanfare, but she was the deputy to Lauren Bruno and really controlled that defense. She played in 78 games, started 76 in her career. That's another huge loss.
I feel like those unsung heroes, and Gabby Allen was sung to anyone who obviously followed the CAA in Monmouth, but those are the ones that push you over the top for a potential championship season.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because they're not noticed, but they're there, and they're just stars in their own right.
First matchup between the Hawks and the Panthers. You see Monmouth's record against teams from the ACC. You got to go back a couple of years where they welcomed ACC teams here to West Long Branch. Pitt, a winning record against schools out of the CAA, but they've only won 3 of those 5 meetings. Last year, Monmouth hosted Virginia Tech, Shannon. That was a great game that you and I were here for. And then before that, NC State before that. Then you got to go into the 90s. The Hokies made a return visit. Maryland came here a couple of times, but we were talking about it before the game with assistant coach Julia Vacasela on the field for Monmouth. Pretty cool that the Panthers would come and play this matchup. Monmouth's such a good team out of the CAA, but for a power conference team to come in here, kudos to both of these coaches for getting this matchup.
100%. A lot of bravery there, you know, because they want to get their teams ready. And what better way to come in and really test yourself against a Monmouth team that's proven its mettle throughout the last, I don't know, it's probably 2 decades now with this team.
It's, I believe, 19 straight seasons with at least a winning record, which is remarkable. And it just, in this era of college athletics and college soccer, I just think you rarely see the power conference school go and visit the great school from a league that, right, the CAA is an excellent league, but the ACC is the best league in the country, #1 North Carolina, residing there, the defending national champions, as we are now underway here at Hess Field in West Long Branch. Pitt gonna wear those road blue kits, the yellow numbers, while Monmouth will wear the home white jersey with the corresponding navy shorts. Can't believe we've kicked off the 2025 college soccer season here. It started on Thursday. We mentioned Pitt. Well, they got it going with an impressive 2-0 win over Xavier the other night, while Monmouth fell 3-1 to Seton Hall in a game that they led Shannon 1-0 at halftime before conceding 3 goals in about a 20-minute span in the second half.
Yeah, and that's the thing with new teams, new defenses. You know, when it gets late in the game and you really test it, your minds test it, your bodies test it, you can have some breakdowns. And we'll watch Monmouth today to try to improve on that record against a better team.
Warm afternoon here in West Long Branch. It very much feels like mid-August out on the turf. I feel like the season starts and we're in the, I mean, there's still a week of summer. There's still time left to get to the beach. And then when you end, it's the fall. It just feels so far away from where we are now. And women's soccer, the earliest starting sport that we'll have a chance to cover this season. As here is Tallulah Miller getting her first touch. Missed all of last season with Kentucky, and then the year before missed with an injury, but started 17 of 18 matches back in 2022. Monmouth going the route of getting some experience in goal. Foul right near midfield, and the Panthers will get it started again. There is freshman Sophie Rourke, 6'1" defender from upstate New York, just outside of Buffalo and Amherst. Shannon and I were on the field before the match and watched the two teams get ready and knock it around. And Sophie York, I'll do that one more time. Sorry, Sophie Rourke, but head and shoulders above everyone else, the 6'1" defender.
Yeah, and you get a look early on. Pittsburgh is giving no quarter here. They are up. They're going to high press Monmouth, see if they can get the ball back in their offensive third.
Well, we mentioned it right before we came on, but this past offseason, Pitt opting for that professional soccer model, with Randy Waldron moving into that technical director role after 7 seasons as the head coach. His son, Ben Waldron, now will lead the program. And this has by far been the most successful run Pitt has had as a program, is these last 7, now 8 years under Randy and now Ben Waldron. So a team that plays in a tremendous conference in the ACC and has big goals for this season. Picked 11th in the ACC, but that doesn't mean they're not still an NCAA tournament caliber team.
Yeah, watching them right now just knock the ball around. You know, they're looking to get that ball back from Monmouth, closer to Monmouth's goal, keep possession and look to unlock. It looks like they're trying to use the flanks, you know. And here we go again, yeah.
Keeping possession, like you mentioned, this has been the start for the Panthers. Good move into the box. And then Pitt will have its first corner, not even 5 minutes in.
And to be fair to this Monmouth team, you had Gabby Allen and Lauren Bruno playing together for what seemed like 4 or 5 years, you know, through COVID. So they formed a real partnership that doesn't happen in the summer before you start your play. So it's going to take a little bit for that partnership to form.
Good ball in. Big collision, and you heard it in our crowd, Mike. And they're going to most likely have to call the athletic trainers over. 2 players down. It is Rourke for Pitt. I believe it's Monmouth's Lindsay Husick, number 11 as well. Big collision right in front of Tallulah Miller in goal. Hopefully all parties involved are okay, as each player will get some medical attention early on in this first half.
And fair play, you know, 50-50, no foul there. Just both players going after the ball.
Well, at least good to see, and I know they're both being tended to by their respective athletic training staffs, and they're looking at their heads, right? The upper body extremity is where that contact would have been made, and at least sitting up, right? Looks like they're at least speaking with their respective athletic trainers, and you just hope everyone able to, even if they don't continue playing today, at least okay. And like you said, when it comes to this, and it's a great trend that we've seen, that when the potential is a head injury, there aren't enough precaution.
No, it's a smart way to do it. You know, I don't know why this wasn't instituted earlier.
Yeah, when you played.
Yeah, yeah.
So if that was when you played, they just, all right, let's go.
Rub some dirt on it, let's go.
There's always positive and negative, era to era, but definitely one of the positives now is the premium put on player safety, as both Rourke and Husick will walk off under their own power. Monmouth will bring in freshman Alex Dryhop. We'll check and see who the Panthers elect to bring in for Rourke, who is a big part of their defensive back four. As this is handled by Miller. And the Panther who has entered is Holly Tickle.
In for the Hawks, number 28, Alex Dryhop.
So thankfully, again, both of those 2
Pitt,
players, Sophie Rourke
Tickle.
and Lindsay Husick, are able to exit under their own power. Tickle, a 5'6" freshman from Preston, England. But you go from 5'6" to 5'6" along that back line.
Well, yeah, certainly changes what you're doing on your set pieces, both defensively and offensively.
Yeah, Rourke started the season opener against Xavier, highly touted freshman from the Buffalo area in Amherst. Was the Western New York Player of the Year a season ago. after a quick possession for Monmouth. Pitt back on the attack a little too far as they continue, Shannon, like you said, to try those flanks on both the right and left side.
Yeah, and it's interesting, you know, you're going to have to see Monmouth start playing balls over the top just to break up that pressure a little bit, see if they can get behind that high pressing Pitt defense.
Miller getting us started again. Her second game in a Monmouth uniform. Panthers looking for attack early. Loose in front of the goal. And Pitt on the road at Monmouth takes a 1-0 lead. Beautiful strike and finish. And after a 2-0 win over Xavier the other night, not even 7 minutes in. And Pitt strikes, Shannon.
Yeah, and Gagne. There, right place, right time, and made no mistake about burying that.
First goal of the season for Magali Gagne, the player we highlighted. 5th goal in a Pitt uniform. We talked about it leading up into this. New faces along that Monmouth defensive back line. And when you're tested with a Big East team on Thursday and then an ACC team, this is the best learning that a young back line can hope for, is competition like this.
Yeah, it's going to pay dividends down the line. Right now, it's going to be a little bit difficult just because of how much pressure they're under. But, you know, Kylie Flynn knows what she's doing with scheduling these hard games, because it's going to mean so much to this back line 3, 4, 5 weeks from now.
And for Pitt, it's 3 goals for and none against so far early on in the season. Last year, Panthers were 9-6-3, but we mentioned Monmouth having to replace so much of its back line. Well, the same can be true for Pitt as you see Rourke return. They have to replace 5 of their 6 leading goal scorers from a season ago, but Gagne, one of those holdovers, a talented player. They got goals in that first game from a couple of underclassmen as well, a freshman and Katie Ellermeyer, and their first goal from sophomore Lola Abraham. So we talk about a young Monmouth defense learning. Well, this young Pitt attack learning, and like we mentioned, they're only 2 years removed from the Elite 8 in women's college soccer. They've got big goals.
They sure do. You know, one thing to notice is that over the past 3 years, they've averaged over 2 goals a game. So this team is going to attack. You know, that's how they're wired. And what better way, you know, to play soccer than look to attack?
Yeah, you love to see teams that play with that mindset. You mentioned it. They're high pressing. They're an aggressive team. They very much want to take the game to the other team and not the other way around. You could tell from the opening kick today, right? It has been very intentional with how aggressive they've been as they'll maintain possession here. Lucia Wells will get us started.
It's always good to see what teams are trying to do. You can tell what Pitt's trying to do. It's just like Monmouth has played this way over the years, with really getting wide, getting their outside flanks down the line, trying to open up teams that way. But you can see the ideas starting to form and what they're trying to do out there.
See all of the attention that Summer Rymette draws. Had 3 different Panthers around her on that throw-in. Panthers joining the attack here, as they'll continue to try to get numbers forward, and that's well done on that far side. And Monmouth will earn possession back. One of those players along that back line that does come back for Monmouth is the one there in the middle of the fray, and sophomore Grace Noda Francesco.
You know, she's another one that's tapped for a preseason all-conference team. And certainly impactful her freshman year.
Started all 20 matches last year as a freshman, saw firsthand those experienced defenders that we've already mentioned a few times. Is now year 2, she's put right into that role as a young player, right? It's weird when you play a lot as a freshman and then you're a leader as a sophomore.
Yeah, and remember, as a freshman, she played outside back, and she's pushed into center back now to be, like you said, that leadership that's always needed from your inside backs, from your center backs. Has to be really vocal, has to be talking the whole game. A little bit different than what she did last year.
Yeah, she's playing that center back role in combination with junior Katie Hoke. First 11 or so minutes been all Panthers to this point. Watching what Monmouth normally does to teams, right? That's normally the way that Kylie Flynn's team plays, is keep possession, press nonstop. We'll see how this next half hour or so unfolds after Pitt got that initial goal from Gagne.
Yeah, and as Monmouth is searching for space, you see them coming back further and further towards their goal. They have to try and work against that. They have to try to create that space in Pitt's defensive zone. And once you get that limited space, it's really hard to move the ball.
And Hoke will just put it out of play. Continued pressure from the Panthers. Junior Sage Stelzer will throw it in. A good job there by Monmouth. One back. No, and unable to keep her feet was Ashley Lavrich. The Rookie of the Year in the CAA last year, had a tremendous season. Will be counted on along with Lauren Garrett and a few other players, along with support of Summer Rymette, right, who's going to draw so much attention from opposing defenses. And that's always one of the hallmarks of this Monmouth team, Shannon. It's yes, they have a great frontline scorer, but that second, third, fourth scorer always seems to have big years. And you look at Lavrich and Garrett and other players that have a chance to step up this season.
They're going to need to step up this season. Right? Summer, you have to think that she's going to get her goals. I mean, she exploded for 14 goals last year. She scored more goals last year than she did the first 2 by a lot. But yeah, like you said, it's always got to be that supporting cast, because she's going to dish out some assists too. And the more she's tightly marked, the more other players are going to be open for her.
Pitt out shooting Monmouth 2-0 and looking for more. Getting close towards the box, and you'll see a couple of times early on in this match, and Pitt was able to generate corners. But those last few times, I feel like Monmouth defensively has made whatever adjustments early on it's needed to maybe look to try and turn some of the momentum here, because the first 14, 15 odd minutes have gone the way of the visitors.
Yeah, Nota Francesca, you know, is doing just a great job wrangling her players out of bounds. She's not getting beat 1v1. She's pushing them towards the outside of the field. And right now, she's forcing Pitt into bad touches.
Well, here another great chance for the Panthers, and that shot will go wide, but a turnover in Monmouth's defensive area proved to almost be costly.
Yeah, right there, that's exactly their game plan. You know, pick up the ball as close to Monmouth's goal as possible and see if they can get a shot off. But again, Nota Francesca, again, doing a good job to cover the angle of the goal and forcing that shot wide.
15 minutes gone by. Foul here, 1-0 in favor of the Panthers. There is Noto Francesco to get us started again. 7th minute goal from Magali Gagne, the difference right now. Here's our first look at Ellie Breach, 5'10" senior from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Pitt's all-time wins leader. Got her 25th career win Thursday night over Xavier. You know, sometimes, right, that could prove to be a difference, right? Monmouth had that luxury with Cassie Coster the last couple of years when you have not just a veteran in goal, but a veteran who's played for you a whole bunch. We mentioned it. Tallulah Miller is experienced, is talented, and not experienced with Monmouth yet after transferring over from Kentucky, where Breach on the opposite side. Her 43rd career start for Pitt this afternoon.
Coster came in as a transfer too. And if you remember, her first 2 or 3 games, she really needed to get warmed up.
Yep.
After her first 2 and 3 games, I mean, she was lights out.
For a couple years.
Years, yeah.
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 That's a good point. Sometimes it just takes, like you said, new league, new teammates, a little bit of everything, which obviously is more of a thing now than it was a handful of years ago with the frequency of player movement. There's Kylie Flynn. That record in her 4th season, already twice has been recognized as the CAA Coach of the Year, including last year. He's gotten this Monmouth team to back-to-back CAA championship matches. They kind of have all the motivation that they need. I mean, they hit the ground running in this conference. Regular season title year 1 and looking to break through this season.
Yeah, and the impressive thing with that, who knows what the new league brings, right? They came out of a totally dominant league where they dominated for years into an upgraded conference, and they went in and win it. I mean, kudos to her, and I think that was her first year.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
storybook stuff.
While yes, she was on staff for 10 years prior to that, like you mentioned, different when you move that 1 seat over.
Oh.
Right? And you're now making every single decision. And then, yeah, that first season, and really since then, I mean, her record in league play is 21-4-6. And you mentioned it, a significant step up in competition from one league to the next. And couldn't have done better, right? Because some teams take years to build up in a new league.
Yeah, no, and like you said, that assistant coach seat charms you into that head coaching seat, and it's not so charming, you know, when much different roles when you're the head coach versus the assistant coach.
Yeah, and kind of each step down the line, right? To go from great player to assistant is one transition, and then from assistant to head coach, a totally different one.
Yeah. And I'd say that's probably the hardest one. Going from assistant to head,
right,
is probably the hardest transition.
It'll be another Pitt corner after Miller knocked that out of play. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people listening to what you just said and nodding, regardless of level, whether it's, you know, youth, high school, college, professional. The pressure's still there, albeit maybe different levels, but like you said, you take that one spot over, now you've got an entire program depending on you to make every decision.
That's right. That's right. The pressure, and listen, you're in this to win, so the pressure to win is fierce.
Off the post. Man, that was a rocket. Off the foot of Abraham, and you heard it in our crowd mic just ring loudly. Look at this strike.
Yeah, she hit that as clean as you could hit it. And difficult to keep down. She kept it on frame though.
Scored in the season opener after a really start to her freshman season. It was cut short by injury against the Tar Heels team that we mentioned earlier, but has hit the ground running in her sophomore year. Way up was breach. Thought Monmouth might have had an opportunity there, as they'll throw it in just to the side of their bench. About 20 minutes gone by in the first half. The Panthers still holding a 1-0 lead.
And that's exactly what I think Monmouth needs to do, is start playing the ball over the top a little bit. See if they can get behind and stretch his Pitt defense, because they're doing a good job. They're organized, packed, and Monmouth is having a tough time playing through them.
Monmouth bringing in another reserve. That's Natalie McGovern. They'll win it back, and like Shannon mentioned, look to start to build some momentum. A good play here by Lavridge. She'll try to slot it forward to Rymette. Returns it to Lavridge. And a great job by Breach. She really took the angle and didn't allow the chance.
Great job by Rymette too, shielding off that ball, letting it go to her back foot instead of getting the early touch in it with her front foot, and being able to free Lavridge down that right-hand side.
We haven't seen Rymette get a lot of opportunities in this first half. And you said it earlier, yes, not just a goal scorer, but will look to just make the right play and get her teammates involved.
You know, I think we'll see as this game goes on that she's going to, because of how heavily guarded she's going to be creating space for her teammates to run into.
Ball just kept drifting, ultimately off the top of the net.
This is the first half water break.
So before Monmouth will bring on freshman Evangeline Perdomo, you just heard potentially in our public address announcement, because of the heat index on the field of well over 90 degrees today, there will be a water break, presumably each half, kind of breaking this game up into quarters if you think about it. And we saw it earlier when both Sophie Rourke and Lindsay Husick collided in midair, potential head injuries, they both exited. We've seen Rourke return, Husick not yet. But that precaution as well as this precaution. Well, anytime it's warm like this and you figure it's going to be in August and maybe even September, what's wrong with a quick little water break? Another thing that they didn't have back, not even 5 years ago, forget, you know, a few more than that. So it kind of gives us a chance and with Pitt leading 1-0, we'll step out.
Whoever said that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line never said anything about the quality of the ride. With Coach USA, you can charter a luxury motor coach for all of your special occasions. From your wedding day to corporate events, sightseeing, trips to the casino, sporting events and concerts. Enjoy free amenities on board, things like Wi-Fi, restrooms, and movies. So to book your charter anywhere in the US or Canada, just contact our sales office today.
We all got to take the water break there. needed as we are back underway here in West Long Branch. Shannon Poser, Eddie Acapinti with you, our producer Andrew Kurtz, Ann Toner and company with the Monmouth Digital Network. There was another reserve as well, whistle here. So the Monmouth sub that you saw before break with Perdomo didn't happen. Good call by our producer Andrew Kurtz. We did get a Pitt sub to come in. It was Addie Biancan as she has checked in. And a chance here for the Panthers, already leading 1-0. As they look for more, and you could see the creativity and the idea for Gagne, who scored our first goal, just pulling that one.
The Pitt pressure is going to force Monmouth. You know, you're second guessing when you're on the ball. How close is it? How hard are they coming in? And what that's going to create chances. That's a touch that is uncharacteristic from Monmouth, but because of how Pitt's playing, they force you into that.
Oh, and a giveaway here. Another one. It's been a few times that Monmouth has really given it to the Panthers in dangerous spots, but they're able to figure it out on this time. And one back on that far side is, you know, Shannon, although it's still gone the way of Pitt, I feel like Monmouth has started to level this match out a bit.
Yeah, for sure. They're getting the ball in the offensive zone. And that's where they're comfortable, right? They can get it up the field. They're gonna relax a little bit and play the ball around. See if they can spring Summer for a goal.
That is the hardest job of the afternoon. The individual sitting in that suit today.
Shadow?
Goodness.
Yep. Yeah, he is.
It's warm if you're just attending for all the fans around, but anytime you have to put on the shadow suit. Whew.
It's warm in there when it's cold out.
Right, exactly. Drifted forward. And Ryman able to get ahead on it, but out of play. Inside of 20 minutes remaining, you know, when this match started and Pitt got the goal it got early, and then Abraham hit one off the crossbar, you kind of got the feeling like they thought they were trying to make this 2-3-0 quick. But now I kind of feel like possession is kind of leveled a bit. I thought we'd get a great game between these two, and that's kind of what we have unfolding here.
Yeah, and it's good for Monmouth's defense. A little bit of confidence. That other goal or two goals go in, they're going to start questioning themselves a lot.
Over the top there, and Monmouth will get us started again as they'll bring in Marie Bogue, freshman from Schenectady, New York.
Checking into the game.
Yeah, and just because, like you said, you know, Monmouth was picked second in their division in the CAA. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. The word division you have to get used to around the CAA now. A team that is incredibly talented, NCAA aspirations, but even so, right, they came out with goals and expectations today. So like you said, the fact that it's 1-0 and not maybe more, going to do wonders for their psyche as well. Even though there's not a really deficit, that I'd feel like they would feel like they're out of it, if that makes sense, because they're not trailing a lot.
Right. They don't trail a lot and they score goals.
Right. Last year, Monmouth was 12-3-5. It's 7-1-2 in the league.
In the game for Pitt is number 24, Katie Ellermeyer.
Pitt's brought in one of their goal scorers from their win over Xavier and freshman Katie Ellermeyer. Rymet was closed out on by Stelzer, able to get it back. Miller able to find Summer Rymette. Ben and Randy Waldrum in your shot there. Ben Waldrum, first year as the head man, right in the middle of your shot. There he is after a 2-0 win over Xavier to start his head coaching career. Been in the Steel City a long time, though, alongside his father, Randy, but before that, coached in the FC Dallas Youth Development Program. They each have international experience as well. Randy Waldrum with Nigeria for a lot of years, and Ben with Trinidad and Tobago before they each had a incredibly successful tenure when Randy was the head coach at Notre Dame, including a couple national titles.
Yeah, imagine sitting next to that. You know, both of them have to feel special being able to do that. Father, son, coaching on the same team and same sideline.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, every team talks about, you know, they're a family. They truly are a family.
Yeah, right. Every way possible. As you see, foul called there. You get a close look at Olivia Lee, one of the star defenders for this Panthers team. See, wearing that captain's armband as well. We mentioned Ben Waldrum and Pitt's first win of the year. That, because we talked about earlier how great Monmouth's been going back 20 years, right? Just winning records everywhere. But how about this record for Pitt? In their last 8 seasons, they are 7-0-1 in the season opener. And that coincides with both Randy and Ben Waldrum in that head coaching spot. Stoppage on the field with Pitt leading 1-0 and 16:25 remaining in the first half. I think they're going to take another hydration break. Warm, humid afternoon in West Long Branch. And we'll step out for 30 seconds, bring it back with the Panthers leading 1-0. Nothing. Panthers lead Monmouth. Wrapping up what we think is another hydration break. And our first broadcast of the season. So in our first game of the year, a really busy season about to be underway with all of the different coverage from soccer, field hockey, and football here at Monmouth. Monmouth Digital Network is going to be home for all of that. As not only our teams, but our officials needing a little bit of a break here. And we're back, not just today, but to the action. Happy to be with the Monmouth Digital Network crew again this season. For a busy, busy school year. Here's Lee, out of that back line. Now Stelzer. Wonderful skill. Ellermeyer. And Pitt got a lot of production off of its bench the other night. Goals, assists, key in their 2-0 win over the Musketeers. whistle here just as Pitt was eyeing another chance.
And again, that high pressure, not only on the field, but on the ball as well. They're not giving Monmouth an inch to move that ball or feel comfortable at all.
Yeah, I can't recall a Monmouth player, Shannon, getting a kind of a clean touch in this game so far. Everything contested, everything challenged. Panthers will play it back to Breach. See a long run there. And Monmouth does momentarily win it back, and now we run the other way. Wells gonna switch fields. A little too far, looking for a few Panthers making runs. And Miller directing traffic on the restart. Touch here for Biancan.
White ball! Hey, white ball! White ball, Alex! Always assume it's on. Always assume.
Pitt with all 6 of the shots so far in this match. They have started fast. Shannon, they have put together what's been a really good half of soccer to this point. And really coming on the road, and like we talked about early in this matchup with 2 teams that have NCAA tournament goals, and they look very much the part of the ACC's team with big aspirations this season.
Yeah, I think the coaches have to feel proud on how they're playing right now. Not really put a foot wrong out there at all today.
And their 5th corner of the first half coming up here with about 12:45 and counting remaining before halftime. Yeah, can't think back to a play they've made that wasn't the right one or a good one.
Yeah, and limiting, 0 shots. As a coach, you're loving that performance so far.
And Monmouth, despite losing 3-1 to Seton Hall the other night, outshot the Pirates 12-7. So they didn't hurt for chances.
Correct.
Deflection here. And Monmouth able to clear it off the line. Miller will look to push everyone forward as Monmouth looks for its first true scoring chance of the afternoon. As Hoke will do a nice job defensively. Oh, they say it's going to be a Pitt throw in, prevented the corner. We talked about Noto Francesco moving from outside to inside on that center back line. Hoke joining her as well, made her first career start in the season opener against Seton Hall, so very much working into this new backline duo.
And again, being new into the center back position, that's a different position just because of all the communication. Not only you have to worry about where you're at, but you have to worry about where everybody is at and making sure they're in the right shape. And you notice there, just knocking the ball out of bounds, and again, that's because of the pressure that Pitt's putting on them.
Good combination. And just a tough touch on the return. But you see the creativity, see the aggressiveness that's resulted in not only the 1-0 lead, but in a lot of great chances. Now we'll get trio of Panthers coming in. Margaret Wild will check in. Adu Philomena Yena will check in. And Ellie Rowlands.
They'll certainly need the contribution of their subs there today. I think the temperature gauge out is probably right around 90 degrees. I think you add like 10 or 15 on turf to that.
And we were here and on the turf early, and you know, it's a 1 o'clock start, so it is kind of at the you know, height of the heat of the day. But I mean, when we got here, you know, before noon, it was already baking down there. Chance for the Panthers to add to the lead, and they do. They cash in another scoring opportunity. And it's 2-0. The visitors from Pittsburgh. Katie Ellermeyer scoring for the second time in as many games.
Monmouth, again, played right into their strategy. You know, they forced that turnover in that offensive third. I think there was 2 passes and a goal.
There you have it, the end result of that turnover. And if you give a good team enough chances, they will take advantage. And the freshman from San Diego has 2 goals in 2 games as a Panther.
Not bad as a freshman.
Not a bad start at all.
Not bad at all.
Pitt's brought in Emily Cooper as well. They didn't play a lot of players in their 2-0 win over Xavier. Nighttime kick, a lot of other things, but this is what you play non-conference for, right? You very much have to learn what you have, not only in your starting 11, but on the bench.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, you think you have a good idea of what you have and a good vision of what it's going to be, but the game forces you to re-examine all those views, because you have freshmen come in that step up that you didn't think. You have injuries that happen, that you have to make changes out there on the fly. And doing that, you know, the first probably really 5 or 6 games of the season, until you know exactly what you have in your set, your lineup set, you understand where people are contributing. Again, one of the most difficult jobs of the coach is just seeing who's gelling and putting those partnerships together out there on the field.
I feel like we've mentioned it before, as I believe that went off our official. Learning how players, like you said, how they play with each other. You know, those 2 center backs is key. How do the forwards play with each other? How does the midfield connect with the forwards in terms of timing? And yes, each team's been in camp for a couple of weeks, but far from finished products from what we'll see, you know, when you get into both ACC and CAA play, respectively.
Yeah, you notice Monmouth is, you know, making their subs. There's a lot of freshmen coming out on the field, you know, just to give them that taste and see, hey, what really do we have here in the players?
Lavridge, the deflection over to Rymet as Monmouth looks to get on the board. Long run for Rymet, who cuts it back. Breach lost it, loose in front. Cooper will take the first and following touch. Well, now Pitt's going to try to go from a Monmouth scoring chance to potentially one of their own. Biancan. Here's Ellermeyer.
Speaking of freshmen, Maya Bright, Charlie Perna doing a great job slowing down that offensive opportunity from Pittsburgh. She played it exactly right. She closed down the space. She slowed down the slowed down the striker, did a great job there.
Well, you mentioned it, right? You want to see contributions from everyone on the roster, and that's a last name that is fairly familiar if you're a Monmouth fan. Her older sister, Maddie, because of injury, COVID, and everything else, she played 6 seasons at Monmouth and was a multiple-time all-conference selection, a championship player in her time. Talk about just a rock of a player.
Well, and right, the thing I always remember is how tough, right? Just a hard-nosed player, and then you see her sister going into a slide tackle and really putting her stamp on that game right now. You know, it looks like she's playing in the center back position, left center back.
Pretty cool to see that.
Awesome.
Family lineage and tradition.
Yep, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with sisters, right? She looks just as tough as her sister was.
And her sister, you know, if you remember, had to really go through some injury adversity in her time, and that was in that transitional period between the CAA for Monmouth, which is the league they're in now, and the league they were in before that, the MAC, as Tallulah Miller comes up to take that away and prevent another Pitt scoring chance. There is Charlie Perna. Yeah, I feel like, and I know she's a young player, she's a freshman, but you're in tune with the youth scene through your time in coaching and your family as well. Are freshmen more experienced now than they were with how they play? Is it different from, you know, the previous eras to now, or they still very much are green and have to learn the college game?
You know, it's certainly different. You know, it changes from decade to decade. There's experience, but again, you know, you're talking about a freshman coming up and playing against, you know, what could be 25-year-old women out there, and then another step up to the ACC level. You know, so it's certainly different. And what better way to see what you throw her out there? Let's see what she can do, and how she's playing these last couple of minutes versus an ACC team. You know, that's an aha moment. You know, maybe we have something here.
No, it's a good point you bring up. As you see Kennedy Erdman come in for Summer Rymette. Yeah, you know, as much as I feel like young players probably play more, especially year-round, right, in specific sports than they used to. But you bring up a great point because of everything that's gone on in college athletics. It's hard to crack a lineup as a young player because there are so many more older players around than there used to be. It's a great point that you bring up. So, you know, Monmouth still, for the most part, recruits freshmen, a couple of transfers, but for the most part, you want to see what you have in young players, and then you look to retain those players, which they've been able to normally do.
Correct. You know, on some of these teams, you know, you're seeing more international recruiting going on, and typically international players a little bit older,
right,
coming in. And as we see that, you know, NCAA soccer is now pretty much global.
Yeah.
Right. You have players coming from all over the place, so that even makes it a little bit more difficult for that freshman coming in to step on the field and be an impact player right away.
2.5 minutes remaining. There's Noter Francesco. Nice skill in front of Monmouth's bench. Nice touch by Erdman. They're gonna get it back. Erdman with an opportunity. And pulls it just wide. Oh, the sophomore from Cherry Hill. Oh, so close. Excuse me, that was Perdomo. Oh, so close to her first college goal.
A great combination play up there, starting with Noter Francesca.
McGovern with that little slide forward, and Perdomo, underclassmen duo there with Monmouth's best chance. 2
freshmen, right? Looking at that partnership again, you know, they sliced through that defense pretty easily. Starting with Noter Francesca in her position that she excelled at last year as a right back. You know, especially in which is a much more offensive position in the way Monmouth played, obviously, from center back.
Well, Miller able to get a hand on it. Oh man, that was a sudden, quick save needed for Tallulah Miller, who's then tested again. Couple of chances for Pitt. Wonderful stops for Miller.
1 minute left in the first half. 1 minute.
How about that flurry in front of the Monmouth goal? Now Pitt not done yet. As we take another look, but they play it wide.
Great couple saves from Miller there when Monmouth really needed it, right? You want to keep this a 2-goal game. That third goal is the most important.
Pitt ready to take a corner, but officials did stop the clock as they're going to check on Tallulah Miller, who after that first save was kind of wincing a little bit. Going to make sure she's okay. We saw the second one. That first one was really good too.
Yeah.
Far post. Oh, 2 Panthers were there. Another good scoring chance that will probably get us to the end of the first half.
10, 9.
And again, you know, coming down from Monmouth's open shot, you know, 1v1 with the keeper to right back down again. The Pitt does not let up.
Now they started fast.
Score at the end of the first
Goals
half.
from Magali Gagne and
Monmouth
Katie Ellermeyer.
0.
And after a warm opening 45 minutes on the turf at Hess Field, it's all Pitt on the road, and the Panthers lead 2-0 as we've reached the break. There is picturesque, the picturesque Great Hall on campus here at Monmouth, where Pitt leads the Hawks 2-0 at the break. Take a look, that's the CAA North Pole. This year, the CAA making the move to split into North and South divisions. Monmouth will play everyone in the North Division, and then they'll play 4 of the teams in the Southern Division. And then, Shannon, when we shake it out, the top 3 in each will make the postseason for a 6-team playoff from that point on. Stony Brook picked ahead of Monmouth. That was the matchup in the final last year where the Seawolves prevailed in an instant classic match.
Yeah, I mean, the format is great going to the lesser games so you can have more non-conference games, but talk about competitive. You know, trying to get in those one of those 6 slots.
It's going to be tough, and there's the southern half of the CAA, so Monmouth will play 4 of those teams. You said it, it's going to really make, for every point is going to be at a premium when you factor in, I mean, that last couple weeks of the season is going to be wild.
Wild.
There it is, Monmouth, one of those handful of teams in the north, and then what you do, you play everybody in your division, you cross over 4 times, top 3 in each side make the postseason. They'll stay in the north and the south until the championship match where the highest remaining seed will host.
Yeah, and what's going to be interesting to see is who you are matched up against in your schedule, because some of those teams are much stronger than some of those teams. So you're going to have from year to year different people making this tournament, just as how the schedules match up.
Yeah, and it's a geographic move, right? When you see where all these teams are in the CAA, I mean, it's the whole East Coast. It's huge. You make it for that, but like you said, unbalanced, well, we have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
We continue along here at halftime. We'll watch that all season long. Bring it right back.
A Jersey Mike's sub bowl is any sub in a bowl without the bread. And this is not my real family.
What did you do with our uncle?
Oh, don't worry about that. Can I crash here tonight? Your favorite sub, hot or cold in a bowl. It's a Jersey Mike's thing.
This is the CAA on Flow College.
Does our mascot look like Danny DeVito to you?
That doesn't matter. This is a commercial for Jersey Mike's, where the subs matter most. Yeah!
Ooh.
Focus on the subs. Where the subs matter most. It's a Jersey Mike's thing.
I started swimming at the age of 6, and I honestly hated it. I think I gave up on swimming for about a year at that age. And then around age 7, I started swimming again. I swam here at Monmouth University with my club team, CJAC, for, I don't know, when I was 7 till about 18. My high school, Long Branch High School, also competed here at Monmouth University, so I've been around this area for my entire life. I think the reason why it truly stuck is just the community that surrounds the sport of swimming. People I met from my youth growing up to my college team at UMass, what I've been able and the people I've been able to meet in my professional career. Just everybody who's really kind of guided me and mentored me has really kept me involved in the sport of swimming. I started coaching because when I was in college, I had really no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't going to sit behind a desk, work a 9 to 5, be in a pantsuit. That's just really not my vibe. After college, I went back to lifeguarding for a year here at Long Branch. And then after that, I was just really fortunate to get an opportunity to be the interim head coach at Maine Maritime. I was there for about a year, and those kids, that experience really grew my passion for coaching. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, and where we are is where we're meant to be. And from Maine Maritime to Fordham to the University of Connecticut, I just think those people and those programs have led me to be confident in my role here now. My coaching philosophy is really centered around the athlete. I'm all about growing humans and teaching them how to use the sport of swimming as almost a wheel to drive the car of who you want to be as a person. I think my greatest strength in coaching is my ability to relate to my athletes, to connect with them, to communicate with them, and to figure out what it is that they need out of me individually to get us where we want to go. This is my home. I grew up here. My parents are down the street. I went to high school in Long Branch. My club team swam here my whole life. I think Monmouth has a beautiful campus located in an amazing area, and who wouldn't want to come to college just down the street from the beach and be a part of a culture and tradition that is so special. In my time here before, I felt like I was going from the parking lot to the pool, so I didn't really get to see much, but I always knew how beautiful this place was. I mean, I took my prom pictures here, and I did see the movie Annie as a child, so you know how amazing this campus is, but it's so much more than just what's immediately here. Everything you need is so close, and it's so immediate that you don't ever have to travel super far or really worry about the extracurricular stuff because it's all so close. Coming home has truly been something just so special. Things I love to do outside of coaching and swimming, I really love to hike. I recently went out to California and hiked Half Dome. That was awesome, just an unreal experience. Being kind of in nature and seeing all that the world has to offer is so special. Yeah, there's really no place better to be in the summertime than the Jersey Shore. I'm a firm believer in that. A lot of people think swimming is an individual sport, and it is. You're the only one swimming in your lane by yourself. So it is so important that you have a community and a culture, and you're uniting the men and the women so that you do have as many people behind you when you are going behind the blocks and when you are racing. I remember those nerves standing behind the blocks. And when you look over to your team and you see everybody cheering for you, that's what drives you, and that's what gets you to stand up on those blocks, and that's what gets you to put your hand on the wall. No, I feel like I've been staring at my watch, patiently waiting for the kids to come back to school. I just really want to get started. I really want to meet the team. I really want to start driving this vehicle. I think the biggest thing that I'm really looking forward to this year is getting to meet the individual athletes and getting to work with them and to give them every ounce of me and pour my all and my coaching into their experience. I'm really just ready to get started and to have them back. I love my summer, and I want them to enjoy their summer as well, but at the same time, let's go, let's be back.
We continue along here at halftime. Good look at Monmouth's, one of Monmouth's newest head coaches with the swimming program. You know, Shannon and I, hard to have a Monmouth game and not mention Summer Rymette. Shannon, last year's attacking player of the year, the preseason player of the year this year after a phenomenal season.
Yeah, you know, in her career, 23 goals, 10 assists. Look at her points from last year. 14 goals, 5 game winners, 33 points. Tremendous, tremendous season last season.
Took that step from a good player to one of the league's best, and looking to add on to that again this season. Rymette's offense needed with Monmouth down 2-0. Bring it right back. We welcome you back, our first broadcast of the season on the Monmouth Digital Network, and we saw the first 45 minutes go the way, Shannon, of the Pitt Panthers. Goals from Magali Gagne and Katie Ellermeyer, and a near miss on a third one as they lead 2-0.
Yeah, and you know, Monmouth had a couple of decent runs, one real opportunity, but this was Pitt's half.
As evidenced by not only the score, but an 11-1 advantage in shots, 6 corners. And to this point, Ellie Breach has not been challenged. Doesn't mean Monmouth hasn't had moments in which they have. It's just the Panthers have had the lion's share of them. Impressive 2-0. That was the winning tally when they defeated Xavier on Thursday. Looking to start the Ben Waldrum era with 2 consecutive wins, off to a good start in this one.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting how Monmouth comes out in that second half. I'm going to say that it's going to be a different starting lineup than what they started in the first half.
Yeah, it's something we'll definitely keep an eye on. I think we saw, and you made the point during the game, maybe one of Monmouth's best opportunities was a freshman-to-freshman connection when Kylie Flynn went to her bench, brought some reserves in. This is a audition. All of these non-conference games are for players to go and get time, and we saw young players have good moments. Charlie Perna at the defensive spot, Natalie McGovern, Evangeline Perdomo. So we'll look to see more of that in a second.
Absolutely. And you know, the coaches really have to figure these things out. And it looks like Perna is, she's gonna be starting as center back.
A Monmouth team that is gonna, throughout the year, have to replace the best defense from the CAA last year, keeper as well. A Pitt team that had to replace 5 of its leading 6 goal scorers from a season ago, and right now, you could make the statement that Panthers side pretty far along in determining who maybe some of their primary goal scorers are going to be. Already 2 goals this season for freshman Katie Ellermeyer. Goal from Lola Abraham in their first game, a sophomore. Gagne's a redshirt senior. She scored today. Good move and skill from Abraham here. Gonna play it out wide. And almost timed perfectly. Miller able to get it, but that was pretty close from a 3-0 match.
Yeah, great job by Miller getting in front of that, because that was a razor-thin margin right there.
Yeah, Shannon, you mentioned, as we'll take another look at that. Look at this wonderful delivery from Biancan. But you mentioned it, looked as though at that first look that Charlie Perna, the freshman, does indeed get that start in the second half at the center back spot. It looked like Clara Ford, the senior from Monmouth Beach, is starting at left back as well. So next time it's flipped around on the defensive side, we'll see what the rest of that back 4 looks like, as Monmouth has its first corner early in the second. Angled right to Breach, handled well by the senior.
A well-driven ball. She made it look easy though, didn't she?
Very easy. And quick correction, there's only one half of soccer today for Ellie Breach. That is Abigail Rice now in goal for the Panthers. Rice, a redshirt junior from Upper Arlington, Ohio. Monmouth trying to add some pressure to that Pitt back line. Shannon, that was on the flip side how the entire first half went, with just Pitt's forwards being relentless.
Yeah, you know, Monmouth has always played that pressure D, and starting it out here again. And you know, let's see if they can intercept some balls in their offensive zone.
All pulled back, left-footed shot is a good one from Abraham, but right to Miller.
And in that one scene as she took that shot, you had 10 Monmouth players. So they're really trying to compact it, especially in their defensive third.
Thrown in from Maya Archibald, as you were going to see both teams, I'm sure, go to their respective benches. Another throw for Archibald, a junior from Nova Scotia. Here's your global game. Cleared away. You saw Miller dive down and put out a play on the other side. This Pitt team picked 11th in the ACC out of 17, by the way. A monster number. The Panthers will have another corner. Mentioned the #1 team picked in that league. As you saw, Stony Brook was picked atop the North in the CAA, Elon in the South. It was the #1 ranked and defending national champion Tar Heels picked to win the ACC. But did you see Thursday? They fell to unranked Tennessee. Alma mater of Coach Flynn.
There you go. With 2 goals, no less. 2-0.
Yeah. That was a bit of a surprise around, I'm sure, the country. Doesn't diminish what North Carolina, I'm sure, will be this year, but maybe those unranked Volunteers are better than people thought.
Let's start seeing the SEC, you know, get stronger and stronger year over year.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore just the influx of everything that the SEC has coming in. It's going to make its way to every program.
That's it. For sure.
Especially Tennessee, because they've been good forever.
Yeah, just a great athletics program overall.
But like you said, you're going to start to see it, I think, more teams take those steps. It's hard to see it across the board in other sports. You know, for years, the SEC was a good, not great basketball league. Now it's an excellent basketball league, right? There's trends that you notice around the country, right? And if you're a Pitt fan, Big East team for a lot of years, and then obviously now they've been in the ACC for a long time, you start to see all these little trends, right? Whether you make that switch or you're like a Monmouth and you go from the NEC to the MAC to the CAA. Another corner coming here, just over 5 minutes gone by.
I never put my flag up. Don't even talk to me.
Just means that when we get ready to do games and go into a season, we got to double check everything. Big kick there and a good ball. Man, we've seen, I know Pitt scored their 2 goals in the run of play. They're pretty close to scoring on a couple of these set pieces as well.
Yeah, sure. And listen, they're out hiding Monmouth by a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so that's certainly a strategy of theirs. But listen, Monmouth's kept them off the score sheet on the set plays. So good defensive positioning, because they look to be playing a little bit zone man-to-man on these corners.
A point you made in the first half too, I think it was after Pitt took the 1-0 lead, right? You start looking for the things that you can take away from a certain match, and you know, maybe that's one of the things Monmouth will look at. Yes, we're going to clean up what we do defensively, but on set pieces maybe further along than they would be otherwise. Especially when you have a team like Pitt that is just physically imposing. Perdomo, that was really well done, and it will result in another Monmouth corner. She's had good moments today. She has. And a moment before that, you had Chloe Messer trying to split the Pitt's defense and almost got it through. So, you know, little things to be happy about if you're Monmouth right here. First corner, is this first corner of the game? I believe it is. Perdomo able to get around. It's punched away by Rice. Deflected away there in a race. Here's a touch for Ford. She'll play it back. See that corner, found Perdomo, who then was able to go across with it to that near post before Rice punched it away. Very smart strategy from Monmouth, trying to take that height advantage away and that misdirection, that ball to the far post, back across the goal, but great job by the Pittsburgh goalkeeper. Sophia Doney will return, the junior from Montreal. She takes out Addie, or excuse me, yeah, it was Biankin. Doney earned her first career start in the season opener against Xavier. Here's Ellermeyer. Goals in each of her first 2 collegiate matches. Her and Sage Stelzer back. It'll be Stelzer. Push called on that ball that was drifting across the face of the goal. There's Miller, 3 saves this afternoon. Pitt a 14-2 advantage in shots. Perdomo. Here's Rymet as they look to build some chemistry. And Pitt will throw it in on that far side.
Monmouth just doing a better job getting into the passing lanes closer up on their offensive side of the field and really disrupting Pitt's possession of the ball.
Yeah, the next goal in this one's going to go a long way to telling the story of this match. You know, Pitt has, you've heard and we've said the stats, but if it's a goal that gives them a pretty one-sided advantage, we know what that means. But if Monmouth's able to find one as Mariama Dabo returns, she started, and then it makes it very different in 2-1. And we've seen a couple of chances there, so we'll see how each coach plays the next few minutes or so, with about 11 and a half minutes into our second half. Trying to take the turn there was Abraham, but we go with Ellermeyer. Trying to slide it forward was Gagne. Ellermeyer, good ball. Here is Doney, one-on-one with Ford. Notar Francesco taking it away from Ellermeyer and does well. Monmouth throwing. Physical collision. Abraham and Perdomo.
It looks like Notar Francesca has been moved up into midfield.
There you go, as she wins that in the air. Oh, giving a run there was Chloe Messer. You see Monmouth's trying to, Shannon, be a little closer to that first touch from Pitt, trying to turn up the pressure, trailing 2-0.
Yeah, good pressure by Monmouth, and Pitt doing a nice job handling it as well.
A whistle there will go on Lauren Garrett.
Yeah, they keep putting pressure on Pitt. More than likely, Pitt will cough up the ball as long as it's pressure that they've been putting on in the past couple of minutes.
Deflected there and out of play. It'll be the 9th Pitt corner.
I got you, all right.
This looks like, yeah, we are going to stop the clock, and they'll call the subs on. Or they'll bring on, thought the call was for the subs, it'll be the athletic training staff. You see there, Lucia Wells is going to check back in for Pitt. Lavridge and Brooke D'Almeida will check in for Monmouth. Mentioned the sister theme earlier with Charlie Perna. Well, the D'Almeidas are on the team at the same time. Emily scored Monmouth's goal against Seton Hall, the junior, and Brooke is a freshman.
Talk about keeping it in your family, right?
Is number 8,
Save money on recruiting trips.
and number 21, Brooke D'Almeida. Also checking in,
right?
Yes.
Number 9, Chloe Messer.
So it's Lindsay Husick who will come out, and if you remember, she came out in the first half after what was a big collision with Sophie Rourke. So because of that, and a good job by our official to recognize that, and she'll get an extra close look. First half goals from Gagne and Ellermeyer. The difference right now. Yeah, Shannon, if you're Monmouth trailing 2-0, we've seen good moments from them. We've seen more good ones from Pitt. Play on given here. We'll close the thought after this build-up for Monmouth. Slotted forward, one touch and a goal! And a magnificent one from Ashley Lavridge.
Wow. Fantastic. And the speed of play, you could see as that was building up, that speed of play. And who did start with it? Francesca, right? In the back. Took the ball out to midfield, dumped it off. One touch, fantastic finish. Nothing the keeper can do about that. Like hey, 2-1 now. It's a much, much different game.
6th career goal for the reigning Rookie of the Year in the CAA. And a very different game with 30 minutes remaining in the second half.
You've seen this momentum change a little bit, and it started with how Monmouth was pressuring higher, getting closer to Pitt. And all of a sudden, a goal. That changes everything.
Well, and I was just going to ask you before that build-up, what does Monmouth have to do to get back in it, to kind of get a little bit of rhythm and control? And the answer is, like you said, play their game.
Yeah, pressure. Take some more risks, pressuring, take some more risks going forward.
That's Lavridge from Garrett.
That's a one-time shot. Certainly a risk from the top of the box, but that's what wins games. That's how you score.
Comes from a player that we talked about earlier, along with Summer Rymette and Lauren Garrett and company, would be relied upon for scoring this season. Well, she gave you one of the goals of the year in game 2.
That feels like an after the game problem.
Yeah, it feels like it's too hot.
And great ball picking her out at the top of the box.
It was Garrett who delivered it. The forwards working together, and now Monmouth looking for potentially a tying talent. It was a mishit there, but a brand new game. Here is Lavridge, the goal scorer. It's now the Panthers' turn and look for more. Doney. Out wide too far, looking for Abraham.
And I believe, because of the Monmouth pressure, you're starting to see some missed passes by Pitt that we really didn't see in that first half.
Pressure, getting a goal on the board, really do wonders. So now we'll see what the counter is for the Panthers in a 1-goal game. Abraham does well to keep it, and then ultimately a whistle and a booking coming. It'll be a yellow card issued to Monmouth's Chloe Messer. So the physical play there resulting in the yellow with just under 28 minutes remaining. It'll be a 3-player wall for Monmouth with Gagne and Ellermeyer, the 2 Panthers on the ball. Miller moving her wall.
Yeah, if I'm Monmouth, I like one more player in that wall.
Lifted. Oh, what a beautiful move and a wonderful executed play by the Panthers. What an answer. My goodness. Man, that was quick. You mentioned it. Maybe one more player needed. Might not have stopped what was as well executed a set piece as you could have.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting a cross for sure from that distance.
What a delivery from Gagne. Man, that was hit well by Doney.
Great ball across. Nothing you can do about it. And people running onto it. Dohany's running onto it. Difficult ball to defend.
First goal in the career of junior Sophia Doheny. Congratulations. What a delivery from Gagne.
Gagne involved in another goal.
Yeah. Four goals a season ago, involved in 2 today. There were 2 other players who scored for Pitt in their season opening win. Man, it's 2-1 and Monmouth's pressing. We're talking about a different game, and what an answer. And that tells you something about a team's DNA too. How do you respond to a goal? That didn't take long at all.
Not at all. Not at all. It's one of the things you have to be careful of when you score a goal. That next 5 minutes is extremely important. Yeah, it looked like she, lost her mark. Somebody lost their mark on the far end, gave her that free header. Nothing Miller could do about that.
It doesn't quite feel like 4 goals is the number we're going to end up with, does it?
It does not. It does not.
Loose ball in the middle of the field and a foul called. Well, either way, and I think you mentioned it in the first half, mentioning that, when both of these teams are playing the way they want to play, they each like to score goals. They each like to play fast. Already 5 goals this season for Pitt in 2 matches. Touched, kept in, Abraham. Good hustle, tracking back. And with under 26 minutes remaining in the second, Panthers will go back to their bench. They'll take Archibald out. They'll bring back in Aaliyah Jaidi, graduate student from Casablanca. Here's Rymet taking 1 touch, now able to get a second. Looking for Lavridge again, making another good run. 2 Panthers collide. It was Abigail Rice in goal, and it was the defender Lucia Wells, and Rice is up and okay.
Again, exactly how Monmouth scored the last time, getting that ball out wide right, bringing it back across the center, looking for Lavridge to connect on it, and close again.
I know it was a collision, but that last little move by Wells to cut in front of Lavridge while causing the collision prevented a chance.
Yeah, no, it was a great use of her body.
Abraham after the spin. Touched outside. Doheny unable to get a true chance there. Did score Pitt's 3rd goal, and now Monmouth will get us started again. Less than 25 minutes left.
And this is where the fitness starts getting to you. These players come in, they work hard all summer to get fit, but there's nothing like game fit at the college level. It's a different fitness, and being 23 minutes left to go, they'll start feeling a little bit. And both coaches doing a good job with their substitutions, getting fresh legs out there. But certainly to keep an eye on as this game goes on.
Here's Abraham. Yeah, I feel like as Miller will handle this. Warm day. We talked about it a bunch. You saw it in the first half, but I feel like each coach has managed it well because there hasn't really been a lull in play.
No, they've been up and down the field. Even the end of the first half, you saw Monmouth getting up and down the field a lot better than they did in the first 30-35 minutes of the game. And it's continuing now. I mean, now this game's really back and forth.
After that 2-0 Pitt lead, it's been a goal each way in the last 10 or so minutes. Monmouth briefly cut it to 1 before Pitt answered again. Monmouth throw in on that far side, but first, it was right around the time we did this in the first half, they'll get another hydration break here with 22:35 remaining in the second. We'll step out. The Panthers leading 3-1, bring it right back.
This is the CAA on Flow College.
And we bring you back to West Long Branch. Pitt 3, Monmouth 1. That's happening on the field here, Hess Field at the Great Lawn. Bring it up into the broadcast booth. Shannon Poser, Eddie Occupanti here with you. All right, Shannon, Monmouth just able to get on the board, and that quickly Pitt able to answer. Panthers back in control.
Yeah, back in control with 2-goal lead. Most dangerous lead in sports, though, right? Is that 2-goal lead. Let's see who scores this next goal, because I think that's going to determine the way this game plays out. Yeah,
it felt that way when it was 2-0, and then Monmouth got that goal on the board, and we saw them do that, doing it the way they want, pressing, kind of giving Pitt what they do to Monmouth. See if the Hawks go back to that mentality.
Yeah, and I think they will. You know, they need to. They need to get this next goal pretty quickly to you know, play in the last, what, 15, 20 minutes of the game.
Going to get back to the action on the field with Panthers holding that 3-1 lead. And, you know, we mentioned it right before that break. We've seen each coach really manage this game well. Even you're seeing it here, right? Working players in and out. It's going to be that combination for Monmouth. Who has the freshest legs for that stretch to maybe look to get another goal on the board as you keep seeing players rotate in and out. Panthers set piece with that 3-1 lead, and it really has been Pitt in control for the majority of the match. That 2-goal game, like Shannon said, just takes that 1 goal, and we saw that wonderful strike from Lavridge that was only answered by the header from Doney. Flag up here as it'll go back to Monmouth with under 22 minutes remaining. We'll bring Bogue back on. She'll return for Emily De Almeida. Panthers. Doney wasn't able to get a clean footing, and Miller will have it. Well, now that pressure from Pitt turning back up. Monmouth will throw it in. Looking to get numbers forward as different combinations of forwards in. One back for
Into the
Pitt.
game for the Hawks is number 12, Evangeline Perdomo, number 28, Alex Dryhoff, and number 15, Marie Bowe.
So after that Monmouth foul, Pitt will get us started again. You're going to bring everyone forward. We saw the Panthers just score on a play pretty similar. This one may be another 5-10 yards out.
Yeah, interesting to note is how many freshmen that Monmouth has on the field right now. Have at least, I want to say at least 4.
Yeah, it feels like that number's only increased as Miller plays it on the deflection there, and we just heard the recent round of subs come in. Some players getting some great experience on the field today. Here's one of them, Dryhoff, freshman from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Now Perna, another one. So we can count them as they go around. Played forward, looking for Bogue, who's another freshman. Stepped in front there by McGovern. Wells battling with Perdomo. I think I just said 5 different names. I think they're all freshmen.
All freshmen.
Yep. So now Monmouth will have a set piece chance. Hoke will be on the ball. Drives it, and right to Rice. On the previous play, there was a yellow card issued to Pitt's Lucia Wells. So now a yellow each way. Here's Lavridge. Playing it out wide, Garrett. Still Monmouth. You see the Panthers really try to increase the pressure, results in a giveaway momentarily. Too much pressure. That was a mishit, but one back by Hannah Minogue, one of the talented freshmen for Pitt. (3-1) Panthers lead. We are just underway this season, though. The Monmouth men's team, a couple of broadcasts coming up against Division I newcomer, New Haven. That's in a couple of days before they bring in the Binghamton Bearcats. So that's the women's team, excuse me. So the men against New Haven, and then this women's team back at it against Binghamton 1 week from today. Women's college soccer kicking off on Thursday. That's when each of these teams had their season opener. Pitt going on the road this afternoon as Monmouth has its home opener. Hosted an ACC team last year, did Monmouth, when Virginia Tech came into town. Second straight year they bring an ACC team to Hess Field early in the season. Dry hop, Perna. Hoke getting a good foot into that. Oh, flag up. Offsides on Monmouth as this match now, Shannon. Last few minutes, I think we're looking back for some rhythm as these teams have traded possession.
Yeah, especially on Monmouth, you know, they have a lot of brand new faces out there, so trying to get that rhythm with each other is certainly something they're going to continue to work on. But look at this.
One back and a chance to make it a one-goal game. Struck in too far. Oh, Bogue and Perdomo, a couple of freshmen combining, and a good look by Perdomo, just Bogue pulling it high.
Yeah, I think they were the two that combined in the first half for that lone shot. Great tackle.
Good moments from Perdomo today.
Yep.
Number 16, Emily Diomeda back into the game for
You know, in time too, curious your thoughts. Did Bogue have a touch that she could have taken, or was that the best? It was quick, and Pitt recovered quickly.
Yeah, Pitt was there. You know, I think it was just the technical aspect of taking that shot.
Got it.
She had to just get a little bit closer and get her shoulders over the ball.
But you're right, that duo has combined for a couple of times now, good scoring chances.
Yeah, something definitely, you know, we talked about those aha moments. You know, I'm sure the coaching staff is having them with those two freshmen.
And like they've done seemingly all match, Pitt with not only another answer, but another bout of possession here. Good ball forward, all alone, far side, and a deflection away. Notor Francesco getting in the way. Players going down and no whistle. We go the other way with Perdomo. Well, trying to spring a teammate forward, and Olivia Lee able to track back. Starting to really get to that moment of the match where that heat's starting to settle in.
Yeah, and this game is blown wide open now.
Too far. Yeah, I don't recall that much room for any player in this match.
There are a lot of gaps out on that field right now.
Long ball looking for Perdomo. Put out a play by Stelzer, but that's one of the few times in this match we've seen Monmouth go long.
Yeah, going over the top. And, you know, that's due a lot to Pitt just being so well organized that when they're seeing that, they're dropping off and winning those balls. But again, like we said, you know, the later you get in a match, the harder that's to do.
Stoppage here with 12:50 remaining. And Lola Abraham will exit. They'll bring Katie Ellermeyer back on.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
And the stoppage as well looks to be for Notor Francesco, who has to exit. Bogue trying to take the turn. Here's Perdomo. Through Bogue. Rice able to slide it away and cleared away.
And again, Monmouth with another opportunity. You know, they're getting more and more opportunities. 4 shots on, I think 3 of them came in this half.
Played out wide. Going to switch the point of attack with 11:38 to go.
It's a great first-time ball.
As they get numbers forward. No one on the other end. Long bout of possession for Monmouth here as they look for an opportunity. And it'll finally go back to Pitt after Monmouth's longest stretch of possession. No real chances with 11:10 to go in the second, but starting to see that Monmouth much more comfortable against this Pitt defense.
Yeah, you know, one of the first things they're going to have to overcome is just understanding where each other are at, because it's such a new team, and you're starting to notice that as this game flows and gets going, getting deeper and deeper into the game, they're maintaining more possession. And, you know, it'll help in this game, but really where it's going to help is these later games. You know, they're just getting more and more comfortable with each other. They're figuring out how each other plays, what positions they want the ball in.
It's all right when you make your run, the timing of everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch the growth of that from this home opener, our first time seeing them, till the next couple of games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure, just because of how many freshmen are really contributing right now. They always talk about soccer and New Jersey and being a hotbed for soccer, but how about Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania?
I was gonna mention that. I mean, on both rosters.
Yeah.
More than a handful of players from. So whatever's going on there,
it's good.
It's good soccer.
Good.
Yeah, Monmouth with a couple of players from there. As we take a timeout during this time and remind you that our broadcast this afternoon is brought to you in part by the McClune's family of restaurants with 11 premier locations, including 10 across the Jersey Shore. All locations are open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Visit mcclunes.com for more information. Yeah, it is interesting. You know, you mentioned it earlier, too, how it is more so than ever, more of a global game. But, you know, a lot of both rosters concentrated to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, as well as some international players. But it's interesting to see kind of that mixture. But, yeah, like you said, a lot of talent from Pennsylvania on both Monmouth's roster as well as Pitt's.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's doing something, right? What do they have? Pulisic, right? Probably one of the best players we've ever seen for the national team.
Just such a, after driving through it as often as I have, it's just such a, I feel like it's like two states in one.
Yeah.
You know, because it's, you have the Philadelphia side and you have the Pittsburgh side.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Harrisburg kind of draws that line up and down for everybody. But with just such, you know, so many great programs and teams in the state, right? You're going to see it work its way to the Division I level.
Absolutely.
Good work from Brooke de Almeida, but one back by Pitt. Under 8 minutes remaining. In your work in the youth soccer community, is there a lot of crossover state to state, or is it mainly the New Jersey teams are sticking in New Jersey, take the national tournaments out, or is there a little crossover?
Yeah, there's a bit of a crossover. There's a bit of a crossover. And now, you know, this day and age with all these MLS next teams or these ECNL teams, you see kids crossing over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting how each sport is so different during that youth development with, you know, where the emphasis lies, like you said. Is it your travel team? Is it your school team? Is it a combination of both? Some sports, some of those teams, it doesn't even factor in. And then in other sports, and like you mentioned, especially in women's soccer, right? So much of it is what you're doing, not with your school team.
That's right.
It's what you're doing with your travel team and everything else.
Yeah, not that the school team has become less a factor, but these travel teams have taken totally over, just because, like you mentioned before, they're playing all year round.
Yeah.
There's the let up a little bit during the high school season, but that's the only let up. Every other week of the year is basically, they're training. Right. They're training with their clubs.
Well, kind of no different than as you move up the line when you play with your national team and your professional club, except it's happening at a younger age.
Yep.
Tough schedule to maintain, no doubt. We've kind of settled in here for now. Shannon, we haven't seen probably either way a true chance in this match in the last couple of minutes, as Pitt unable to connect there. And you see if there is another chance over the next 5:45 or so, but regardless, you're going to walk away from this one pretty impressed with this Panthers team. And it doesn't really matter where you're picked in the ACC, but they'll have a chance to make some noise like they did a couple of seasons ago when they had that breakthrough season, if everyone's able to stay healthy.
Absolutely. And again, although they're more of an upper class team, they still have some underclassmen that are going to be putting major minutes on this team. And quite frankly, from the looks of it, will surprise some people in the ACC.
Absolutely. I mean, pretty much at least through 2 games, you've got a standout freshman on each side as this is pulled wide. You can say she went out with injury earlier, but thankfully was able to come back in, is Sophie Rourke, and a very highly touted player on their back line as a freshman. And Ellermeyer, as a freshman, has got 2 goals in 2 games. So you have that mix, and then you have your veterans as well. Highlighted a few times as Miller comes up with a save on Biankin, those Monmouth talented freshmen, but Pitt no different. And maybe that save has woken the match up a bit as Monmouth looks to try to make it interesting in the final 4:23. If Monmouth has another chance there, this pops straight up into the air. And Pitt will throw it in with 3:40 remaining. Clock will stop on a Panthers substitution. It's one of those Pitt freshmen exiting, and Hannah Minogue brought Abraham back in. Definitely can say that as this game has wore on, Monmouth had more good moments. Something to take away, but anytime you challenge yourself with a couple of teams on the schedule from the Big East and the ACC, maybe not the results you're looking for, but you look within the results for the progress that you're looking for. And like you said earlier, these 2 games will pay dividends for Monmouth once CAA play starts.
Absolutely. And what I've noticed from Monmouth is that they struggled with the pressure in the first half, but as the game wore on, they got more and more comfortable with the pressure and have been able to play around it and through it. And, just seeing them maintain the possession in the second half, they've just become more and more comfortable, not only playing against the pressure, but also playing with each other.
and younger players have gotten more comfortable playing together.
And they're not used to this pressure. You know, they're not used to the pressure of the college game and how quick the women are. They're quicker than what they're used to playing against.
Popped up out of play.
You know, the speed of the game, it takes a major jump up, especially for these freshmen from playing club ball and from playing high school to college, and then throw in, hey, this is an ACC team on top of that.
Right. All points that will benefit everyone, and really both ways, to come out of this game over the course of the season. But it's been an impressive performance from the Panthers, no question. Speaking of impressive, Evangeline Perdomo from Monmouth, I think, is going to leave an impression on us, on the fans. Had really good moments and just seems to always be around the ball.
Right? She gets into those spots where she finds that ball a lot in dangerous places. She's gonna be fun to watch.
Here is Lavridge, who scored the goal for Monmouth. Ready for this free kick as the yellow card was given to Adu Philomena Yina. Throw in for Monmouth with 1:15 left. And that ball hit the flag.
1 minute.
So it'll be a corner for Monmouth with now less than a minute remaining. Taken quick. Dry hop, far post. Nice play. Abigail Rice going up and getting it.
And that's a tough one, running away from her goal, going up and grabbing that. Good ball by Dry hop.
The final 30 seconds will come off the clock, and a great goal from Ashley Lavridge notwithstanding. Really impressive performance from Pitt this afternoon. And with now just 10 seconds left and a whistle there, that'll be our final whistle as the countdown is on. And a 2-0 start for the Pittsburgh Panthers as they come into West Long Branch and they knock off Monmouth 3-1 in a really impressive performance.
Great job by, listen, they're going to be extremely happy. The team worked the whole game. They executed the game plan, and it was kind of easy to see what they were trying to do, you know, pressure high, get the ball back, get a shot on goal.
Well, you said it, the game plan, you could tell from the beginning, and executed about as well as you could. You know, we talked on the field before. It's an ACC team visiting an upper tier CAA team, right? So, first of all, great job by both coaches getting this matchup, and a really great job by Pitt coming to Monmouth, right, and having this game. So for Pitt, there's that always in the back of your mind, like, man, this team's good. They can score goals. Like, we're on their turf. Normally they come to us, you know, teams like that. Positives to take away for everybody in this game, Shannon, but the Panthers came out focused, executing that game plan pretty flawlessly.
Yeah, they did. They did exactly what they wanted to do, and in the beginning of the game, Monmouth kind of played into what they were trying to do and paid for it with some goals. You know, the Pittsburgh punished them for the mistakes that they made.
Yeah, and it was really constant pressure you mentioned from Pitt, but constant possession. Really, the Panthers just didn't give the ball up for minutes in that first half and for a lot of this match. As you can see on your screen there, just the dominance in the numbers, outshooting Monmouth 23-4, the 3-1 win. And that doesn't mean Monmouth didn't have great moments, because they did. The Lavridge goal, one of them, but we saw young players combine for what could be a promising future.
Yeah, as the game wore on, they got more and more comfortable. They had more and more opportunities to score goals. And like you said, it's the young players that were in the mix when that was happening. So a lot to be excited about for Monmouth.
With some talented veterans, with some newcomers that saw valuable minutes this afternoon against an upper-tier team in Pitt. But I think you could take those preseason rankings, you could throw them out the window, because 5 goals through 2 games for this Panthers side. All different goal scorers with the exception of Ellermeyer, and they are just a really impressive team that's going to be fun to watch go through the ACC this season.
Yeah, they're going to, from just looking at how they play and looking at how they execute, they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough team to beat going forward.
One of the things you take away in these non-conference games is all of the positives, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but this 3-1 Pitt win, as impressive as it gets for Coach Waldrum, who's going to join us now. And Coach, pretty good start to your head coach career, 2-0, 5 goals on the board. Congratulations. What impressed you most about your team this afternoon?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much. I think the one thing we did much better than Thursday is just in our possession and keeping the ball a little bit. One of the things with our group, we're pretty inexperienced. So it's starting to come together and starting to gel. So I think, looking at the preseason games, we're now 4 games in. We expect to see some improvement, and certainly we saw some today.
So, Coach, what was, we've been talking about aha moments throughout the broadcast. What was your aha moment today you had about your team?
Well, first of all, when they pulled one back in the second half, the response from us had to be within a couple of minutes there. I'm not sure what the timeline was on it, but just to see things respond. Certainly we felt like we had control of the game, and then they nipped one back, and the game could be changed at that point in time, and I thought our kids responded really well to that.
Yeah, Coach, it was an intense matchup both ways, like you said, but the thing evident, your team's intentionality from the get-go, really obvious. I'll ask you one final question, and then we'll let you go. But as you come into this season and you have this group where you're working in talented newcomers, there are some veterans as well. What gives you the most confidence about this group moving forward?
Well, one, they just keep getting better and better, so that gives you hope, obviously, and then certainly the conference that we play in. You got to be at that level week in and week out. And listen, guys, coming here is not easy. Playing against a team that has a lot of success in their conference. I love the way Monmouth plays, with their possession and how they try to play. So it was a good opponent for us. It was a great game.
Yeah, and congratulations to you and Coach Flint for putting this game together. Everyone got to recognize it. Coach, thanks for bringing the Panthers east. We appreciate it, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
That is Ben Waldrum joining us here, Shannon. I'll give you the final word after his team's 3-1 win. We heard the positives there, but the positives for Monmouth to take away, we saw the leverage goal. We saw some great moments from young players. Going to be fun to watch them develop this year.
100%. What I'm excited about is just the newcomers. You saw the newcomers on and play a major role. You had Perna back in the center back position. That's huge for a freshman. You had some people coming up, stepping up on offensive side, which is exciting.
Yeah, exciting to watch and an exciting game. It really was. 4 goals on the turf here at Hess Field this afternoon and a 3-1 victory for the Pitt Panthers. For our entire crew here in West Long Branch, our producer Andrew Kurtz, my broadcast partner Shannon Poser, I'm Eddie Acapenti as we say so long. Flow Sports is your home for a live and on-demand CAA sports coverage all season long. Visit flowsports.tv/CAA for more information. This has been a presentation of the Monmouth Digital Network. 3 goals and an impressive performance for Pitt as the Panthers begin the season 2-0 after a 3-1 win over Monmouth.